$1.25 trillion. That is not the national defense budget. That is not the cost of some massive infrastructure bill sitting on a senator's desk. That is how much Americans owe on their credit cards right now, as of the first quarter of 2026. Americans' total credit card balance is $1.252 trillion as of Q1 2026, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Let that settle in your chest for a second. A trillion with a T. And here's what really gets me. That's down from $1.277 trillion in Q4 2025, which marked the highest balance since the New York Fed began tracking this data in 1999. So we're celebrating a $25 billion dip like it's some kind of victory lap? That's like celebrating because your house is only 80% on fire instead of 85%. The fire is still burning. The walls are still coming down. And nobody seems to be reaching for the hose. I'm Kunal, by the way. I run Failed Finance, and the reason this channel exists is because I got sick and tired of watching people get crushed by a financial system that was designed, engineered, to keep them in the dark. And credit card debt? This is ground zero. This is the silent killer of American wealth, and most people don't even realize how deep the blade has gone until they're bleeding out. So let me walk you through what's actually happening, because the numbers are worse than the headlines suggest, and I'm going to show you exactly how to fight back. But first, and I say this because I genuinely care about you making the right call. Nothing I say here is personalized financial advice. I'm sharing data, research, and strategies that have worked for millions. But your situation is yours. If you need a professional in your corner, go get one. There's no shame in that. There's only shame in doing nothing. Now, 46% of respondents in a 2026 survey have completely maxed out at least one credit card, and 57% report that persistent inflation has forced them to carry a larger monthly balance than they did a year ago. Read that again. Nearly half the people walking around your neighborhood, your office, your kid's school, they've hit the ceiling on at least one card. And it's not because they're buying Rolexes and taking trips to Bali. Consumers are relying on credit cards not for discretionary purchases, but to cover essentials like groceries, utilities, and rent as living costs have outpaced wage growth. That's the shift nobody wants to talk about. This isn't reckless spending. This is survival spending. People are swiping their Visa to keep the lights on and put ground beef on the table. And the credit card companies? They're collecting interest on your groceries. Think about that. You're paying 21% interest on a bag of rice and a carton of eggs. For all credit cards, the average APR in Q1 2026 was 21.00%. And for cards actually accruing interest, the average was 21.52%. 21%. Do you know what Warren Buffett said about that? The man who's arguably the greatest investor alive looked at credit card interest rates years ago and told a friend who'd come into some money, "Don't invest it. Don't put it in the market. Don't buy real estate." He stressed the importance of paying off high-interest debt, stating, "If I owed any money at 18%, the first thing I'd do with any money I had would be to pay it off." And that was when rates were at 18%. We're sitting at 21 now. Buffett literally said, "It's going to be way better than any investment idea I've got." The Oracle of Omaha, a guy who turned a textile mill into a $400 billion empire, is telling you that paying off your credit card beats any stock pick he could dream up. And he's right. The math is airtight. The S&P 500 has historically returned 9 to 10% a year over long stretches. Even the best fund managers in the world might squeeze out 12 to 15. But your credit card is charging you 21. You're running on a treadmill that's moving faster than your legs. You will never out-earn 21% interest with investments. Never. It's not a matter of skill or strategy. It's arithmetic. And the people getting hit hardest? It's not who you think. Yeah, lower-income families are struggling. 56% of cardholders with annual household incomes under $50,000 carry a balance from month to month. But here's the part that should scare everyone. More than 1/3 of high-earning Americans making over $100,000 still cannot or do not pay their credit card bill in full each month. $100,000 a year and you still can't clear your card? That tells you this isn't just a poverty problem. It's a structural problem. It's lifestyle inflation. It's the creep of subscription services and convenience spending and "I deserve this" purchases that stack up month after month until suddenly you're carrying $6,000 at 22% APR and you don't even know how you got there. Americans carrying a 5-figure credit card balance, $10,000 or more, jumped from 23% in 2025 to 29% in 2026. Almost a third of people with credit card debt owe more than $10,000. And millennials at 42% and Gen X at 39% are maxing out cards at significantly higher rates than baby boomers at 14%. These are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, prime earning years, and they're drowning. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Delinquencies. When people stop paying, the percentage of credit card accounts that were 90 or more days delinquent as of Q12026 increased to 13.12%, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, up from 12.3% a year ago. That is a staggering number. That 13.12% delinquency rate is the highest level in 15 years. The previous high occurred during the period following the 2008 financial crisis. We're in territory we haven't seen since the Great Recession. And I want you to understand what 90-plus days delinquent means. That means someone hasn't made a single payment in 3 months. Their phone is ringing off the hook. Collection agencies are calling. Their credit score is in free fall. Their ability to rent an apartment, buy a car, get a mortgage, all compromised. And it's not a handful of people. It's 13% of all credit card balances in America. That's tens of billions of dollars in debt that people have simply stopped paying. Credit experts indicate these figures point to a small but expanding group of consumers who have become trapped in credit card debt. And an economist at Oxford Economics commented that the trend reflects increasing vulnerability among a specific subset of consumers. It is not about new borrowers falling behind, but rather those already in delinquency sinking deeper. They're not getting out. They're sinking. The quicksand is pulling them under, and every month, the interest piles on more weight. Have you ever felt that? That moment where you open your statement and your minimum payment went up, but your balance barely moved? Drop a comment below if you've been there. Seriously. Because there are millions of people watching this right now who think they're the only ones. You're not. Roughly 111 million Americans are trapped in cycles of persistent debt and exposed to record-high interest rates. And of that group, more than 27 million can only afford the minimum payment each month. 111 million people. 27 million who can only make minimums. Do you know what happens when you only pay the minimum? A cardholder carrying the average $6,500 balance at 22.4% APR, making only minimum payments, will take over 18 years to pay off the balance and will pay more than $9,000 in interest alone. 18 years. $9,000 in interest on a $6,500 balance. You're paying for that debt nearly 1.5 times over, just in interest. The original purchase? The TV, the vacation, the medical bill. That's almost a footnote at that point. The interest is the real cost. And the credit card companies know this. They're not stupid. They designed the minimum payment structure specifically to keep you paying as long as possible. The longer you pay, the more they make. Your monthly minimum isn't there to help you. It's there to help them. And yet, despite elevated balances and widespread high interest rates, nearly half of Americans say they have not explored any debt solutions at all. 46% haven't even looked. Not a balance transfer. Not a debt management plan. Not a phone call to a nonprofit credit counselor. Nothing. And 22% of respondents don't even know their current APR. You're paying interest every single day and you don't know the rate? That's like driving cross-country without checking your gas gauge. You will run out, and it will be in the middle of nowhere, and nobody's coming to save you. So let me give you the playbook. Because this is what failed finance is about. Not just diagnosing the problem, but actually handing you the tools to fix it. First, the most important thing you can do right now, today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, is pull up every credit card statement you have and write down 3 numbers: the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. All of them. Every card. Put them in a spreadsheet. Put them on a napkin. I don't care. Just get the numbers in front of your face. because you cannot fight an enemy you can't see. Warren Buffett once told students that his #1 piece of advice is simply don't get into debt. He told a 14-year-old shareholder at the 2004 Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting, "It's very tempting to spend more than you earn. It's very understandable, but it's not a good idea." And Buffett also said something I think about a lot. If you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. That is devastating in its simplicity. And it's exactly what's happening across America right now. People are selling their financial futures, their retirement, their kids' college funds, their peace of mind, to service debt on things they bought years ago and can barely remember. So here's strategy #1, the Avalanche method. There are 2 popular ways to tackle debt. The Avalanche method, where you prioritize paying down the debts with the highest interest rates first. You take all your debts, you line them up by interest rate from highest to lowest, and you throw every extra dollar you have at the one on top while paying minimums on everything else. When that card is dead, you roll that payment into the next one. Mathematically, this saves you the most money. Period. Full stop. If you're someone who can look at a spreadsheet and stay disciplined, this is your move. It's cold, calculated, and effective. But I'll be honest, not everyone operates that way. Some people need the emotional win. They need to feel progress. That's where strategy #2 comes in, the snowball method. With the debt snowball, you pay off your smallest balance first, put as much money as you can toward that account while continuing to pay the minimums on others. And when that debt is wiped out, you add the amount you'd been paying on it to the minimum on the next largest debt. The payment keeps growing like a snowball. Dave Ramsey made this famous, and there's a reason it works. It's psychological. Humans need wins. We need to see progress. When you knock out that first card, even if it was only a $400 balance, something shifts in your brain. You go from, "I'm drowning" to "I just killed one." And that momentum is real. This psychology-driven strategy focuses on paying off your smallest balances first. By eliminating small debts quickly, you build momentum, gain confidence, and create habits that make it easier to stick to a long-term plan. Now, which one should you use? Honestly, the one you'll actually stick with. The Avalanche saves more money. The snowball keeps you motivated. If you're analytical and patient, go Avalanche. If you're emotional and need quick feedback, go Snowball. Either way, you're moving forward. Either way, you're fighting back. And that matters more than the method. But here's a third weapon that most people sleep on, the balance transfer. When used responsibly, a balance transfer card buys you time to pay off your balance interest-free. And some of these deals last as long as 21 months. 21 months at 0% interest. That means every dollar you pay goes straight to the principal. No interest, no compounding, just pure debt destruction. A balance transfer card lets you move existing debt from a high-interest credit card to a new one that offers 0% APR for an introductory period, often 15 to 21 months. And during that time, every cent you pay goes toward reducing your balance, with transfer fees typically running 3 to 5%, but you can save much more than that in interest. Let me give you a real example. Say you've got $5,000 on a card at 21%. If you're paying $300 a month, it'll take you about 20 months to pay it off, and you'll fork over roughly $1,000 in interest along the way. Now take that same $5,000, transfer it to a 0% card with a 3% fee. That's $150, and pay the same $300 a month. You're done in about 17 months, and you paid $150 instead of $1,000. That's $850 back in your pocket. That's a car payment. That's a month of groceries. That's your kids' school supplies for the entire year. But, and this is critical, you have to have a plan to pay it off before the promotional period ends. Because when that 0% expires, the rate jumps, and if you've still got a balance, you're right back in the trap. Pay off the full balance before the 0% intro APR period ends. At that point, any outstanding balance will be subject to a high interest rate. The balance transfer is a weapon, not a lifestyle. Use it with precision. Now I want to talk about something people are terrified to do, calling your credit card company and negotiating. I know. The idea of picking up the phone and asking Chase or Capital One or Discover to lower your rate sounds about as fun as a root canal. But here's the thing. It works more often than you think. Most people don't realize that credit card interest rates are not carved in stone. They're not mandated by law. Your issuer set your rate based on your risk profile, market conditions, and a healthy dose of, let's see how much we can get away with. And you have every right to call them and say, I've been a customer for X years. I've never missed a payment. I'd like to discuss lowering my APR. You might get a no. Fine. Call back next month. Ask for a supervisor. Reference a competitor's offer. Mention that you're considering a balance transfer, because that's a real threat to them. They'd rather keep you at 16% than lose you entirely. And if your situation is more severe, if you're already behind on payments, you can ask about hardship programs. Most major issuers have them. They don't advertise them. You have to ask. But they exist because it's cheaper for the bank to reduce your rate and keep collecting something than to write off your entire balance and send it to collections. For cardholders with weaker credit or higher balances, seeking help from a nonprofit credit counseling service is another option. Places like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, NFCC, they're legit. They're not the debt settlement scams you see on late-night TV. These are certified professionals who will look at your situation, negotiate with your creditors on your behalf, and build a plan that actually works. And here's the stat that should haunt every single person watching this right now. Paying off debt is the #1 financial resolution for Americans heading into 2026, with 1 in 4 adults citing it as their top financial goal. Credit card debt is the top target, with 37% of debt-focused adults making it their primary goal. But here's the gut punch. Just 27% of adults successfully stuck to their financial resolutions in 2025. 3 out of 4 people failed, not because they're weak, not because they're stupid, because they didn't have a system. They had a wish, not a plan. And a wish without a plan is just a daydream. If you want to be in that 27%, no, if you want to blow past it, you need structure. You need to know your numbers. You need to pick a method and commit to it like your financial life depends on it. Because it does. Credit card balances have risen by $482 billion since Q1 2021, when credit card debt bottomed out at $770 billion during the pandemic. That's a 63% increase over 5 years. 5 years. 63%. That's not a trend. That's an avalanche, and not the good kind. The pandemic gave America a brief reset. Stimulus checks hit. Spending dropped because nobody could go anywhere. Balances fell. And then the world opened back up, inflation exploded, and everyone reached for their credit cards because wages didn't keep up. The average interest rate on credit cards jumped from 14.6% in February 2022 to a peak of 21.8% in August 2024. In 2.5 years, the cost of carrying a balance went up nearly 50%. And the Fed? The decline in average APRs followed a series of Federal Reserve rate cuts in late 2025, but the Fed left rates unchanged at its early 2026 meetings, reducing downward pressure on credit card APRs. So those rate cuts everyone was hoping would save them? They barely moved the needle. Even when the Fed cuts, banks drag their feet, passing those savings along. Your mortgage might drop a quarter point. Your credit card? Maybe a few basis points if you're lucky. The system is asymmetric. When rates go up, your APR follows immediately. When they come down, the banks take their sweet time. You feel the pain fast, but the relief comes slow. And that's by design. Let me tell you something about this debt spiral that people don't talk about enough. It changes you. Not just your bank account. It changes your behavior, your relationships, your mental health. I've talked to people who can't sleep because they're calculating minimum payments in their head at 2 in the morning. I've talked to couples whose marriages fell apart because one partner hid credit card debt from the other for years. I've talked to parents who skip meals so their kids can eat because after the minimum payments, there's nothing left. This is not an abstract economic discussion. This is real. This is happening in your house, on your street, in your family. And the way out starts with one decision. I'm not going to let this define me anymore. 61% of Americans with card debt have been in debt for at least a year, up from 53% in late 2024. For most people, this isn't a one-time mistake. It's a chronic condition. And chronic conditions require chronic treatment. You don't fix this with one good month. You fix it with a system you follow every single month until the balance hits zero. And then you keep following it so you never go back. So we've talked about the crisis. We've talked about the numbers. We've covered the avalanche, the snowball, and the balance transfer. Now I want to go deeper, because the surface level advice is everywhere. Every financial blog on the internet will tell you to spend less and save more. Thanks. Groundbreaking. What they won't tell you is the tactical, behind-the-scenes stuff that actually moves the needle when you're buried in debt, and the standard playbook isn't cutting it. So let me give you the advanced game, the stuff that separates people who talk about paying off debt from people who actually do it. First, and this is counterintuitive, you need a small emergency fund before you go scorched earth on your debt. I know. Every fiber of your being is screaming, throw every dollar at the balance. And I respect that instinct. But here's what happens when you don't have a cash buffer. One flat tire, one emergency room copay, one broken water heater, and you're right back on the credit card. You should set aside a little money each month for a small emergency fund, because just one unexpected expense can make you tap into credit again and derail your progress. While the standard advice is 3 to 6 months of wages, even getting up to $1,000 stashed in a high-yield savings account can be a significant help. $1,000. That's it. That's your firewall. It won't cover everything, but it'll cover enough to keep you from sliding backward. Put it in a high-yield savings account where it earns 4 or 5% while it sits there. Do not touch it unless something genuinely breaks or bleeds. It's not for concerts. It's not for, I need a mental health day at Target. It's for actual emergencies. Once that's in place, then you go all in on the debt. And I want to talk about the balance transfer strategy in more detail because most people botch it. They get the card, they transfer the balance, and then they keep spending on the old card. Or they don't calculate the payoff timeline. Or they forget about the fee structure. So let me break this down properly. When you open a balance transfer card, say it's got a 0% intro rate for 18 months. You need to take your total transferred balance, add the transfer fee, and divide by 18. That's your monthly payment. No exceptions. If you transferred $4,000 and paid a 3% fee, that's $4,120 divided by 18, about $229 a month. That number goes on autopay. You treat it like rent. You treat it like a car payment. It's non-negotiable. And here's the part nobody mentions. Do not use the new card for purchases unless it also offers 0% on new purchases, and you can track the two balances separately. Most cards apply payments to the lowest rate balance first, which means your new purchases might accumulate interest while your transfer sits at 0. It's a trap within a trap. Read the fine print. I mean it. Actually read it. Now let me give you something that'll blow some minds. You can negotiate beyond just your interest rate. You can negotiate fees. That late payment fee you got hit with last month? Call and ask for it to be waived. If it's your first time, most issuers will do it without a fight. That annual fee on your premium card? Ask if they have a retention offer. Sometimes they'll waive it, reduce it, or give you bonus points to keep you. That overlimit fee? That returned payment fee? All negotiable. The worst they can say is no. And no from a credit card company costs you nothing. But yes can save you hundreds. Here's another move that most people don't know about. A debt management plan through a nonprofit credit counseling agency like the NFCC. This is not debt settlement. This is not bankruptcy. This is a structured program where a certified counselor contacts your creditors, negotiates reduced interest rates, often down to single digits, and sets up a single monthly payment that you make to the agency, and they distribute it to your creditors. A nonprofit credit counseling agency can help. Certified organizations like Money Management International and members of the National Foundation for Credit Counseling offer access to structured debt management plans where you make a single monthly payment and the agency pays your creditors directly. Most people on these plans see their rates drop from 20+% to somewhere between 6 and 9%. That alone can cut years off your payoff timeline. And the monthly payment is often lower than what you were paying before because the interest isn't eating you alive anymore. But you have to be willing to close the accounts that go on the plan. That's the trade-off. You surrender the cards, and in exchange, you get a realistic path to zero. For a lot of people, that's a hard pill to swallow. But think about it this way. Those cards weren't helping you. They were drowning you. Giving them up isn't a sacrifice. It's a rescue operation. Let me shift gears and talk about something that matters just as much as strategy: psychology. Because debt isn't just a math problem. If it were, nobody would be in it. You'd see the interest rate, do the calculation, and never carry a balance. But that's not how humans work. We're emotional. We're impulsive. We're hardwired to prioritize short-term comfort over long-term stability. And the credit card industry has spent billions of dollars exploiting exactly those tendencies. The rewards, the cashback, the pre-approved letters that show up in your mailbox like they're doing you a favor, the frictionless tap-to-pay that makes spending feel weightless. They've removed every barrier between your impulse and their profit, so you have to build your own barriers. And the most effective barrier I've ever seen is what I call the 48-hour rule. Before any non-essential purchase over $50, you wait 48 hours. You put the item in your cart. You close the browser. You walk away. And if you still want it 2 days later, really want it, not just it'd be nice, want it, then you buy it with cash or debit, not credit. If you can't buy it with money that already exists in your checking account, you can't afford it. Period. That simple rule will save most people thousands of dollars a year. Not because any single purchase is huge, but because impulse spending is death by 1,000 cuts. It's the $40 Amazon order, the $30 DoorDash, the subscription you forgot you signed up for. It adds up to hundreds a month, and most of it goes straight onto a card that's charging you 21% for the privilege of forgetting about it. Speaking of subscriptions, do an audit right now. Pull your last 3 credit card statements and highlight every recurring charge. You will find things you forgot existed, the streaming service you haven't watched in 4 months, the gym membership you keep meaning to use, the meal kit delivery you signed up for during the pandemic and never canceled. The average American has somewhere between 5 and 10 active subscriptions, and most people underestimate their total subscription spending by 40 to 60%. Cancel everything you don't actively use at least twice a month. Everything. You can always resubscribe later if you miss it. But right now, every dollar that isn't going toward your debt is a dollar that's being charged 21% interest to sit there. Let me talk about income for a minute, because there's a ceiling to how much you can cut. You can only slash so many expenses before you're eating rice and beans in the dark. And while there's nothing wrong with austerity when you need it, the real accelerator is income. Every extra dollar you earn goes straight to the debt pile. Side hustles, overtime, freelancing, selling stuff you don't need. All of it. I've seen people knock out thousands in credit card debt in months by picking up weekend gigs on TaskRabbit or Rover or driving for a rideshare service. It's not glamorous. It's not fun. But it's temporary. And the math is undeniable. An extra $500 a month aimed at a $5,000 balance at 21% cuts your payoff time roughly in half compared to minimums alone. That's the power of offense. Defense. Cutting spending stops the bleeding. Offense. Earning more fills the tank. You need both. And here's one more thing. Stop treating your credit score like it's more important than your actual financial health. I see people doing insane things to protect their score. They'll keep a card open and carry a balance because they heard closing it would hurt their utilization ratio. They'll pay minimums across 4 cards instead of aggressively paying one off because they're afraid of the short-term credit dip. Your credit score is a tool. It's not your identity. And if you're drowning in debt at 21%, your score is already under pressure anyway because your utilization is sky high. Median utilization rates among debt-stressed cardholders increased from 63.8% to 70.7% from 2018 to 2025. 70% utilization. Credit scoring models want you under 30. Under 10 is ideal. If you're at 70, your score is already taking a hit. So stop babysitting the score and start killing the debt. The score will recover. It always does. Once your balances drop, your utilization drops, and your score climbs. But it can't climb while you're treading water at 70% utilization making minimum payments. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's been talk about capping credit card interest rates. On January 20th, President Trump called for banks to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year and urged Congress to draft legislation to implement the proposal. 83% of Americans support a government cap on credit card interest rates according to a WalletHub survey, though no such federal cap exists for the general population as of early 2026. I'm going to be straight with you. Don't wait for Washington to save you. Whether you're on the left, the right, or somewhere in between, the legislative process is slow, lobbyists are powerful, and the banking industry has enormous influence. A cap may come. It may not. It may come in a watered-down form that doesn't help the people who need it most. You cannot build your financial plan around a maybe. You build it around what you can control right now: your spending, your payments, your strategy, your hustle. Those are yours. Nobody can take them away, and nobody can give them to you. You have to do the work. And yeah, the work is hard. It's boring. It's repetitive. There are months where the balance barely moves and you want to scream. But it moves. It always moves if you stay consistent. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine it's 18 months from now. You've been on the Avalanche method. You transferred your highest rate card to a 0% balance transfer card the day after watching this. You set up autopay for $250 a month. You canceled 4 subscriptions. You sold a few things on Facebook Marketplace. You picked up a Saturday gig that brought in $300 extra a month. Your first card is paid off. Your second card is half gone. Your utilization dropped from 65% to 22%. Your credit score jumped 80 points. You're sleeping better. You stopped fighting with your partner about money. You feel lighter. You feel free. That's not fantasy. That is the reality for thousands of people who committed to a plan and stuck with it. And it can be your reality too, but only if you start. Not next month. Not January. Now. I'm going to say something that might ruffle some feathers. If you're watching financial content on the internet and you're not taking action, you're just entertaining yourself with your own anxiety. You're doom scrolling your bank account, and that helps nobody. Watch this, take the steps, and close the laptop. Go pull up your statements. Go make that phone call. Go open that balance transfer application. Momentum beats motivation every single day. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. And if you got something out of this, if even one thing I said shifted how you see your situation, hit subscribe on Failed Finance. Not for me, for you. Because this is what we do here every single week. We take the stuff that Wall Street and the credit card companies don't want you to know, and we put it in your hands. Drop a comment telling me your current situation. How many cards, what your total balance is, what strategy you're going to try. I read them. I respond to them. And sometimes the best advice comes from other people in the comments who've been exactly where you are and made it out. This community is built on honesty, not hype. 47% of American credit card holders report having a credit card balance. That means you are not alone. Not even close. In 2024, 56% of Americans said they would rely on credit cards during an emergency. That fell to 51% in 2025, but jumped to 61% this year, the highest level in 3 years. The reliance is growing, not shrinking. So the fight isn't just about paying off what you owe. It's about breaking the cycle entirely. It's about building a world where you don't need the card, where the card is a tool you use for cashback and convenience, and you pay it in full every month, where you're on the earning side of compound interest, not the paying side. Warren Buffett put it perfectly. If you start revolving debt on those credit cards, you can't make any progress in your financial life. No progress. That's what he said. The greatest wealth builder in American history is telling you that revolving credit card debt is the single biggest obstacle to building wealth. Not the stock market, not inflation, not taxes, credit card debt. And he receives letters every day that confirm it. He said, "I get about a dozen letters a day from people who are having terrible problems, and in nearly every case, the root cause is one of 2 things: catastrophic health issues or credit card debt. Health problems and credit card debt. That's what's destroying people. And one of those you can control. Right now. Today. The $1.25 trillion number sounds overwhelming. But you don't owe $1.25 trillion. You owe your balance. Your number. And your number, whatever it is, has a path to zero. I promise you that. It might take 12 months. It might take 3 years. But there is a path, and you can walk it, and you will get there if you don't quit. The credit card companies are betting you'll quit. They're betting you'll make minimums for the next 18 years and hand them $9,000 in interest on a $6,500 balance. Prove them wrong. That's all I've got for today. I'm Kunal from Failed Finance, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay dangerous, and stay out of debt.